Good afternoon, Central Oregon and beyond. This is Josh coming at you with another episode of Apres Chats. Apres Chats episode 7, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But welcome back. It's been a little while since I've recorded an episode, and we're just going to dive into why. As you can tell, the formatting is also a little bit differently. It's just me. There are no guests here with me today. We're going to be doing things a little bit differently here on the podcast. I'm extremely excited about it. I'm a little bit nervous about it, but we'll be covering all of that and so much more momentarily. So, why wasn't I here for the last month or so? Well, June rolled around, the ski season ended, and I just got extremely busy. My brother was getting married. It was a beautiful wedding. We had a wonderful time. I was the officiant for that. Everything went super smoothly, but between that and a handful of other things I had going on in June, I really just didn't have the time to commit to the podcast while maintaining, time for myself and time to relax and time to just enjoy every day, which is the motto of everything that I do. So I decided to take a pause on the podcast through most of June. Originally it was going to be a pause for like a couple weeks, and that pushed into the entirety of June. But in that time, I had a lot of time to sit and reflect on what exactly I want the podcast to be and what exactly I'm doing here, and what the plan is for Apres Chats moving forward. And honestly, some of the plans for Josh Reports moving forward. But so I've changed the format of the podcast a little bit. I love having guests on here. I definitely still intend to continue doing that. I intend to continue interviewing people. But I wanted to lean a little bit more into that talk show, like segmented style for the podcast. So this is my first experiment with doing that. In the past, I've run a few podcasts solo, but when I run out of guests to interview, or I don't have the timing to meet up with guests to interview, I kind of lose my way. I kind of lose track of what I'm doing. But the segmented talk show style makes a lot more sense for what I'm trying to do, because I want to be able to bring you guys gear reviews. I want to be able to do some different segments with it. I want to bring in some of my experience as a bartender into this, and I want to be able to talk about ski stories and news and so much more. That's going to be a little bit easier, more in this almost like news show, talk show format style. Of course, it is Apres Chats, and I do still live in my rig, so we are going to be mobile. I'm kind of home based at my folks' place right now. It was a comfortable place to park the rig and do this while I had some time to do it today. So we are currently based out here near Tumalo, but we're going to be recording Apres Chats basically on location everywhere I end up being in the ambulance. And like I said, we're leaning into that talk show vibe a little bit more. So just to break down what that means to you guys, like I said, there's going to be segments and a general kind of main characteristic for the show. This being the intro, which, for anybody who's watched any talk show, there's always a little bit of an intro, and there's a few segments. Today, though, we will be doing this. We're covering exactly what's going on right now. I will be bringing some of my bartending experience to you guys. I want to do cocktail hour with Josh Reports. I've been bartending for almost 10 years. I love making and mixing fun new drinks, and I just finished a 75-day health challenge. Me and my girlfriend decided to be a little bit healthier. It's been 75 days minus the wedding and closing day without alcohol, and that was 75 days ended yesterday. So now I'm going to start diving into it a little bit again, making some fun drinks, and just kind of exploring a little bit of mixology on here. And this is Apres Chats. This is all about after outdoor sports, after skiing, after mountain biking, after climbing. And we all love sitting back and cracking an Apres beverage. I had to remember I hit record. So we're going to be doing that, and then I'm going to be doing a little bit of a gear review today with you guys. I'm going to be looking at my Trew Gear that I was wearing all season long. We're going to be talking about my jacket and my bibs a little bit, and then that will bring us to the final closing segments. I've got a couple ideas for those, but we'll be covering all of that later. So with all of that being said, I believe it is time that we dive into a little bit of a cocktail hour with Josh Reports. Swipe segments. And welcome, my friends, to the first ever cocktail hour with Josh Reports. I'm going to be a little bit awkward on these first couple episodes of Apres Chats doing it in this style, so, just bear with me. But today we are making watermelon watermelon daiquiris. With how hot it is outside, I figured this was a perfect refreshing beverage to just kind of take the edge off of that heat out there. So what you're going to need for this, it's actually a really simple cocktail. You're going to need a little bit of rum. I prefer white rum if I'm doing a beverage like this one, but you can go in whatever flavor you like. Traditionally, a daiquiri is made with just a little bit of sugar, like a sugar cube. I prefer a little blue agave nectar. That's always just a nice kind of adds a little bit of a flavor to it, a little bit healthier than just white sugar. I just personally like it. little bit of lime juice. Those are your basic traditional daiquiri ingredients. For those of you who don't know, a lot of people think a daiquiri is a blended beverage. It started out as just rum, sugar, and lime juice. And then we're just going to need a little bit of watermelon juice. I just picked this one up at Trader Joe's. You can make your own watermelon juice or buy some at the store. This one's just a super basic, just watermelon juice with a little bit of lemon juice in it. But I didn't want to go with one of those ones with a lot of sugars added to it. So the basics of this cocktail, and for those of you at home watching this, I don't really measure my drinks too much when I'm making them at home. You can feel free to measure them yourself. 1.5 ounces is going to be kind of your traditional cocktail pour. But of course, if you're making it at home, feel free to go a little bit more than that. Generally, it's just going to be about 1.5 ounces of your rum, about 1/2 ounce of your sugar, or just 1 sugar cube if you're just making a single daiquiri. Squeeze of about 1/2 of a lime, and then just a little splash of that watermelon for flavor more than anything. So we're going to go ahead and get these mixed up. Keep in mind, I am making 2 of these, one for myself and one for my dad, who is letting me park here for making this. I'm going to squeeze half the lime in there. Add a little bit of watermelon juice. And you're going to add a little bit of ice to the combination. Literally just my ice bag from inside the rig. And then you're just going to give that a nice shake. Beautiful. And then we're just going to pour that over ice. Traditionally, daiquiri might be served up, martini style. If you want to garnish this, you can feel free to put some salt or sugar on the rim. Either way works beautifully. We're just keeping it simple, and we're straining it straight over a little bit of fresh ice. All right. Then we can go find my dad and see what he thinks. All right. And we got my dad coming down for a little taste test of the daiquiris. Let us know how they are.
Daiquiris? Hey.
Cheers. My pleasure.
Cheers. Tastes like summer.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Now that we have our nice little watermelon daiquiri, we can continue with the podcast. That is delicious. Highly recommend trying that one if you haven't. Great for 4th of July or for these super hot weekends that we got coming up. And speaking of a super hot weekend coming up, I do want to make it a point on these episodes to dive into a little bit of a weather forecast, weather report kind of a vibe. Let's be honest, Josh Report started as a weather report, so let's just keep that going. Today, we're just going to talk briefly about some of our weather around here in Oregon. Up on Mount Bachelor, temperatures are going to be warm. They did just open up their bike park. Just about a week ago, Mount Bachelor's bike park opened up. A lot of the trails are open, not quite all of them yet. Of course, Red Line is one that is super popular up there. That one's not quite open for the season, but a lot of the trails, especially like Lava Flow and those more intermediate to beginner trails, are all definitely going to be open. Great for the riding up there. I haven't done a whole lot of riding up there, but I'm looking to try to do some more of that soon. But if you are one of those crazy people like myself who likes to do their turns all year, there is still a little bit of snowpack up there as well. It doesn't quite come all the way down. You're going to be hoofing it for a good chunk of the way to get to that snowpack, but there's definitely still plenty of rideable snow up there. I will actually be going up tomorrow. As of recording this is the day before the 4th of July. I'm going up for a little 4th of July ski with some friends tomorrow, so it should be a beautiful time. Otherwise, if you're looking for a little bit of lift service, you can head up to Mount Hood. They are operating for the summer season. They've got plenty of snowpack up there. I was just checking their webcams before this weekend or before this podcast. There's still a lot of snow up there on the glacier. Of course, we do have a lot of warm temperatures coming in. Everything up on the mountains is going to be between those 80-degree temperature marks. So that snow is going to be melting relatively fast. And down here in town, temperatures are going to be hot. I will be posting this on Friday, which means temperatures are going to be around 100 degrees by the time you're seeing this, and through the course of the weekend and all of next week, we're looking at temperatures hanging right around that 100-degree mark. It's going to be mid-90s near the end of the week, moving towards next Friday, but it is just going to be a really hot week out there. I want you guys to make sure you're staying hydrated. Yes, I do enjoy the occasional cocktail, but water is extremely good as well, especially with these warm temperatures. Staying hydrated out there is going to help stave away that heat stroke. That is going to be your local weather forecast. That is going to be a portion of these podcasts moving forward. It's definitely something that I want to keep going. And we can look at weather around the world. So if there's a place that you want to see the weather for, whether you're looking at South America for their ski season, or if you're just curious about somewhere else relatively nearby or somewhere across the country from us, let me know and I can give you your weather forecast in the next episode. That's going to be your local weather forecast. Now it is time that we move on to a little bit of a gear review. I'm going to be talking today about my Trew Gear. I'm going to take a second, get it all out of the rig, and then we'll go through it with you guys, and I'll talk a bit about what they do, a bit about their gear, a bit about the brand, and just everything that I love about keeping it true. All right, so let's get into this gear review, guys. Like I said, I'm going to be talking a little bit today about Trew Gear. They've been one of my sponsors now. I partnered with them a little bit 2 seasons ago. They properly took care of me last season. They're a great company. They are based out of Portland, Oregon, so they are a local company here to Oregon. I think they make an amazing product. I'm a huge fan of it. I also did want to let you know, they're not in any way sponsoring this podcast. While they do sponsor Josh Reports, they don't even know I'm making this episode. They have no idea that this is going to come out. I'm not even entirely sure if they're going to see this, but I absolutely love this gear, so I couldn't help but want to talk about it a little bit. And, this is the stuff that I use day to day. I ski, last season, 160 days last season, and overall over the course of the last year, it's been closer to 200 days. I get out on the slopes a lot, and I'm very thankful for that. And I need gear that's going to keep up with me. So you'll notice these are extremely dirty. These are my bibs here, but they are in amazing shape. So I ride their Truth bib. This is honestly one of my favorite bibs I've ever worn, but I'm going to talk about some of the good and some of the things I don't like quite as much about these, and we'll get into it. So these are made with their Primo fabric. It's like Trew Gear's version of kind of like a Gore-Tex e-vibe. It's like their high-end fabric. It's a really cool fabric. Honestly, feels really comfortable to wear. This is their technical gear, so there's not really a lot of insulation in these bibs. So if you're looking for like a resort insulated bib, this might not be the direction you want to go. They do have those, but it's a really good lightweight technical bib. These as a shell are absolutely amazing. You do just want to make sure you have your layering dialed in underneath. They also do sell some really cool new yarn base layers, which really help with that thermal mitigation down below. These bibs on their own are phenomenal. Now, for reference, I'm about 6'3", right around 220 pounds. I was 230, 240 most of the winter, maybe even a little more. Wow, we don't like to admit that. But this is their Truth bib. It's in their extra large size and the tall sizing. That's the one thing I love about Trew Gear, is they actually have a huge variety of sizing for everyone. They've got wide, they've got tall, they've got short. It's actually really cool to see the inclusivity of their sizing. I will go ahead and say, for the people who are listening to this as a podcast, feel free to keep listening along, but I will have the video posted on Spotify and YouTube if you want to see what I'm talking about here with the bibs and with everything else. Now, like I said, this is, I skied about 160 days in these bibs last season, and they are still in phenomenal shape. There's really only one hole that I know of on these bibs that I've found so far. This one little patch of duct tape right here, and I accidentally put that in there myself with an ice axe while digging a snow pit, an avalanche pit. That was on a backcountry trip, and that one is entirely my fault, and I will totally own that. But otherwise, these bibs have survived miraculously. I haven't even tech washed these once in the time that I've had them, and they still managed to keep me dry every single day that I was out there. So I'm a huge fan. I got these ones in the burnt orange color, obviously. I'm not sure if I'm going to go for that color palette again next year, or if maybe we'll mix it up. But those are my Trew Gear Truth bibs. And to complement those, I went with their Cosmic jacket that they have. Once again, this is in that Primo fabric. As you can see, I kind of got the matching color palette as those bibs. Once again, I'm wearing the extra large size on this one. It's a great size for me. So for anyone, for size reference, again, 6'3", 200 something pounds, extra large fits great. Again, I love this one. I love this jacket. I'm going to go into some of the things that I don't love about them in a little bit here. But again, 200 something days on snow, or 160 days in the jacket specifically. And it really doesn't show almost any signs of wear and tear. It's a little bit dirty. Again, I haven't tech washed this once all season, but it still keeps me dry, keeps me comfortable, keeps me insulated. Even though it's a super lightweight fabric, it does a pretty good job of thermal, I don't even know the word for it. I've basically, thermal conservation, really. It keeps me warm inside. I really don't need to do that many heavy layers unless it's a super cold day. Then I might be adding some extra layers in there. But otherwise, usually just a base layer, maybe sometimes a hoodie underneath, does me absolutely great. So if you're looking for some new gear next season, I definitely recommend checking out Trew. Like I said, they've got some great summer sales going on. Let's talk briefly about some things I don't love about these. The jacket. As I said, I am a very large guy. We're going to put this on. Sorry if there's some noise in the microphone there. The zipper only has the one-way zip, which I didn't have any issues with on this jacket this season, but I had the exact same jacket last season, and with big thighs and that zipper bending down, I actually managed to pop that zipper out a couple times. Now, Trew Gear was great with their warranty. They did fix it up for me, but that is something that I noticed with this jacket. And one thing I would love to see Trew Gear change in the future is adding that double zip on the jacket. And on the bibs, the biggest annoyance that I have has been this kind of the way that the shoulder straps tighten. I feel like they came loose on me a lot. I ended up tying them into these little eyelets that they have over here. This is actually a slightly different shoulder strap than they had last season, and I will say I like this one a little bit better. But I'm hoping to see that maybe slide a little bit less. Basically, anytime I wore my bibs, if I didn't tie them up, by the end of the day, they'd be sagging way farther down than I'd like, or the straps would be falling off my shoulders, especially whilst touring. But truth be told, those are really the only two big complaints I have about my Trew Gear gear. I've really loved it. I do know they also started a lineup for ski patrollers next season. I might actually be looking into getting some of that for myself next season. Not that I'm a ski patroller, but it's super durable, beefy gear. And with the amount that I ride, having that super durable, beefy gear definitely makes a difference. But that is kind of my overview and review of the Trew Gear stuff that I had. Like I said, I put over 150 days, 160 plus days in on this gear over the season, and it held up to the test of time. I will definitely be making another video with new gear coming into this next season, whatever I end up getting from Trew. I definitely plan on sticking with them as long as they will let me continue hanging out with them. I love their gear. I hope you enjoyed this little bit of a gear review. It's something that I want to keep doing in this kind of podcast format a little bit. So yeah, go check out Trew Gear. They're the homies up in Portland. They take great care of us, local company, and they make a great product. I will say, I guess the other drawback is it is definitely a pricey product, but you are getting what you pay for. If you think you're your average person skiing about 20 to 40 days a season, and I put 160 days in on those, you're getting at least 4 or 5 seasons out of it. While it might be a little bit pricey, unless you buy it on a sale, it's totally worth what you're paying for. It's definitely going to get you through quite a few seasons. That's my review of Trew Gear, and we'll move on to the next segment of the podcast. And there you have it, my friends. That is my review of Trew Gear. That is my review of their product. I think they're a super great company from up out of Portland. They're locals. They take great care of me. And honestly, their gear is second to none in my mind. I really love it. It keeps me warm and dry all winter long. It keeps me comfortable. I couldn't really do what I do without good gear to last me through the course of a season. So you should definitely check them out. I know they got some killer summer sales going on right now, and I'm sure they're going to have some really cool new products coming in for next season. But that brings us to almost the end of episode 7 of Apres Chats and the first episode of this style of format. Now, normally on the end of these episodes, I'm going to want to be bringing in you guys, the local community. I want to see what you've been up to. I want to see photos. I want to see videos. I want to see all the cool stuff that you guys got going on. So I have created a link on my website, www.joshreports.com. You can go and check it out. If you go www.joshreports.com/submit, you can submit me videos, you can submit me photos, you can submit me little blurbs about what you've been up to if you want for a chance to be featured on next week's episode of Apres Chats. I want to see it all. I want to see your first kickflip on your skateboard. I want to see gnarly backflips. I want to see whatever it is that you're stoked on that you've been out there doing, everything from big to small. Go ahead and submit it, even if it's just a beautiful photo of the sunset. Head over www.joshreports.com/submit, and that's going to be your spot to submit to be potentially on next week's episode of Apres Chats. I want to bring you guys in on this. The community has helped build me into what I've got going on now, and I'd like to just be able to show a little bit of thanks in that way. But that brings us to the end of this first episode. I hope you've enjoyed this new format of Apres Chats. It's honestly a little bit awkward for me to be talking to a camera without a guest for as long as I have been. It's going to take a little bit of getting used to, but this is really the direction I want to bring this into. I really want to kind of continue to grow this into a cool influence in the outdoor sports world, into the ski world. I really just am stoked on the direction things are going. So I hope you are too. I hope you've enjoyed listening. If you want to check out more, check me out at Josh Reports on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. Like I said, you can go over to my website, www.joshreports.com, if you want to pick up any Enjoy Everyday merch, or just swing by and see what the latest thing going on is. And hey, most importantly, my friends, whatever you're up to today, do not forget to enjoy every day, y'all. Peace.